Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and today we're doing a radio install on this 2009 Ford F150. Now, obviously the aftermarket radio is already in. Customer already brought it to us with the factory radio removed, and so I don't have that footage unfortunately, but I'll still show you how to take apart the factory dash up and around the radio, and we can all pretend that the factory non-screen radio is currently in the dash. We'll show you how to get it all pulled apart, then we'll head over to the bench, show you how to wire up the new radio, assemble the dash kit, and get everything reinstalled. Let's get started. So first things first, there's a 9/32 screw back behind this panel. So you're going to go ahead and pop it on out. With a panel tool, you'll remove that 9/32 screw just with a socket there. And then when you pull your little rubber thing out there at the top, you're going to have two 9/32 as well up here. Go ahead and get those pulled on out. Okay, once all three screws have been removed, you need to just move these slightly out of the way. You don't have to remove them completely. Go ahead and just pop those out. Just use your fingers here on both ends to kind of get up at the bottom. And once that's enough out of the way, you can go ahead and pop the factory bezel out. And again, pretend that this is the factory bezel. Just a little tight, just take your time. Okay, and then you're going to have two harnesses on your HVAC controls. One on your aux, one on the power socket here, and then one up here. You may have one also on the side as well, depending on your trim level. Go ahead and remove those. Okay, then your factory radio bezel will come free. What you're going to be left with is the CD drive. Just disregard the aftermarket radio here, but it sits in this place. The CD drive is held on with 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you remove those bolts, you'll disconnect the main harness, and let's head over to the bench and get our new aftermarket radio wired up, assemble the dash bezel, and get everything ready to go to be reinstalled here in the dash.
Provo Beast Audio Installation channel is sponsored by NVX and Sonic Electronics. Get 10% off all speakers, amplifiers, wiring kits, and more with coupon code PBAI at NVX. Also get 5% off all car audio components at Sonic Electronics with coupon code ProvoBeast.
Alright, so some of the parts that you're going to need for the install is your dash kit, the chosen radio, and your basic wiring harness package. Now our F-150 does not have steering wheel controls, so that's one thing that we don't have to worry about integrating to the aftermarket radio. What we've picked up is the crux interface. It's the S00FD-27 integrate kit. Now this is a unit that's a good solution. It does not retain steering wheel controls because we don't have them, but it does everything else for us for an aftermarket radio install. And then finally, the dash kit that you're going to need. Now Scosche and Metra kind of do their own versions. The one that we're using is the Scosche FD1438B dash kit, and essentially here you just transfer over your HVAC controls, hazard switch, and aux input to the new kit. It's pretty straightforward. You follow your instructions to assemble the kit as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our crux adapter and wire it in to our Boss adapter. We're going to solder everything up, use heat shrink, and go ahead and finish remaining assembling the kit. What you need to do with this is you wire in, and the nice thing is Crux has labeled everything here, but you match these colors up to your chosen aftermarket radio's colors, stripping both ends. We like to solder and use heat shrink here, and then essentially that's about it besides plugging in your harness module. This will go right into the car. One end plugs into the factory harnesses, the other end into your chosen radio. Also, if you want more information on just general wiring harness adapters and how to use them, we'll have another link down in the description as well as in the card above on how to wire up an aftermarket radio harness. Alright, so we went ahead and stripped both ends. We put our heat shrink on this end before we start soldering up, and really mostly it's just color to color. It's pretty straightforward stuff. Now, every once in a while you may have something that doesn't match the industry standard. For example, on this we'll have these three. One's obviously a accessory trigger, so that'll hook to the red wire there, but your reverse gear on this is red-white, and generally reverse gears are purple-white or something like that. And then we have a Vigo speed sense, which is red-black, which our radio doesn't support anyways. So just keep that in mind as you start wiring everything up. Alright, so we went ahead and soldered up color for color here. Parking brake wire, we actually just went ahead and grounded that. Here on these Boss radios, you can just ground them out. But everything else was really color for color. There's really no difference except for, remember that backup camera wire? On our Crux, it's red-white, but on our Boss radio, it's purple-white. So keep that in mind. We added an extra blue wire off of our blue-white wire, just a remote turn on because we're adding an amplifier down the road. So at this point we can go ahead and move our heat shrink up and over our connections, and then we'll use a heat gun and shrink them down. Okay, so after our harness will cool here, we're actually going to use a bit of Tessa tape and just tape up our connections, make our harness look all nice and pretty. Then at this point, we'll go ahead and assemble the kit, head back to the truck, and get everything installed. Alright, so we finished up our wiring harness here. This end plugs into the car, this end plugs into our radio, and then this end plugs into the module. Here's our aux input, we got that all ready to go as well, and our little guy here for our amplifier turn on down the road when we have the amp. Other than that, wiring's all taken care of. Again, we don't have steering wheel controls, so we don't have to retain those, and really no other factory functions. It's kind of nice because it's all provided here by the smart harness. So what we have just for demonstration here is what the kit would look like. Now Metra and Scosche kind of basically make the same product. This is the Scosche version. This is the Scosche FD1438B version. All you really need to do, and it's pretty self-explanatory, most of this stuff just pops out and clips into the new bezel, and then you'll notice that there's these little Torx bits that you're able to remove the factory AC HVAC controls and install them here into this kit as well. And then you have your factory aux that'll clip into this new piece as well. Then we're going to grab our radio here, and this Scosche kit comes with these brackets. Now unfortunately there's no way that these brackets actually connect to the dash bezel, so you may have to pull the radio in and out a couple of times just to get it to fit properly. We're now ready to install our new harness adapter. So we took our time to make sure these were positioned correctly so the dash kit fits up and around the radio and there's no gaps. So we found the position we like. It fits in there great, so let's go ahead and grab our harness adapter. And here's the plugs. Go ahead and plug those on in, just like so. Now we don't have one that plugs into this because we don't have a factory amplifier in this, so it's not going to be used. Same thing with the factory sub plug. Just because there's no factory amplifier, we don't need to hook it up. Plugged in our antenna adapter here. Let's go ahead and grab our brain box, make sure that's all plugged in. And then finally here we have aux inputs. We're going to plug those into the back of the radio as well. The last thing we need to connect is our main harness to the radio. Okay, that's all plugged in. All right, so got that all hooked on up. Now I popped our airbag controller out, plug that in. What we're going to do is we're going to test to make sure everything works before we button everything up, because that would be awful to have it not work. So far so good. Now we don't have to test steering wheel controls. We don't got them. So last thing we're going to install is our Bluetooth mic. Then at that point, we can actually go ahead and put the dash bezel back in. All right, that's a bit for this install. If you have any questions about what we did here, go ahead and post a comment below. Thanks again, guys, for watching the channel. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.